Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to Adventures with Captain Ray Kelly live. And I'm glad you're all tuned in. I appreciate it very much. And like I said in the comments and on the promos, that I have another great show schedule with two awesome guests. And a lot of you know who they are. You've seen them on live streams before, but it's really my privilege to have them on my show. And I know they're both very busy, and they're taking time from their busy schedules to be on, and I really appreciate that. But you know, you guys all know that I got the secret spots, and I've been to a couple of them this week. With with Ken Nida, he's a new drone pilot, and him and I went to another new secret spot because it was we were talking in the pre-show about it being too windy. We had went down to the intercoastal, him and I, and it was just too windy to fly by the intercoastal waterway. And I had suggested to him that we move, and not that we had to move far, but we just had to move inland about a mile, not even a mile, and go to a different park, and we were able to fly. But let me just welcome in a few people in the chat. I know JC, he was number one, and I appreciate that, JC. And I'm going to start with the list from the bottom up because it's easier that way. But Jackrabbit, Scotty, how you doing? And David Lorenzo, always good to see you. And Tammy Jean and DeMarco's in the house. How you doing, DeMarco? Al from South Florida Drone Flyers, and Bob Casey. How you doing? All the way from Kentucky. Um, and John flying Flynn Media. Always good to see you. And Chris, Drone Life RC. How you doing? Johnny Drone Fly is in the house. All right, we can't say nothing bad about Johnny now. he's in the chat. So, but Eddie Nunez, how you doing? And I see you went to see the White House. That was nice to see that. Um, John Olson, how you doing? And I'll be back on Long Island on Sunday, John. So we'll get together and we'll fly. But listen, I left some shrimp and lobster in the studio, the green room, the back room, and I didn't leave too much of it. And I see the two guys fighting over it. I'm watching them, and they're fighting over the shrimp and the lobster. But I'm gonna bring in Steven Sutton, and he's coming all the way from Finland. How you doing, Steven?
Hello, Captain Ray. Good to be here. Thank you for the invitation. It's nice to see you
Yes.
after so long.
No, I tell you, I know you're busy. You're traveling the world doing your drone shows, and you do deliveries also. But I'm so glad you made time to come on the show. Um, and
Always make time to go. I know you asked me. I think it was about I think a month and a half ago or something. You asked me, and it was just a really busy time for me. So I needed some rest actually.
Yeah,
some
yeah.
rest.
No, I know. Believe
So,
me, I know.
so
But I find your drone show so incredible. I mean, really, I think everybody does. Everybody in the world thinks these drone shows are amazing. And maybe we could talk a little bit about that. But before we go into that, I want to really know how you became involved in drones and what was your first drone?
great question. My first drone was a Mavic, the Mavic Pro. It's my
Okay.
first drone, the Mavic Pro, which I got in 2017. So I was quite late to the game, and sort of being late to the game, but at the same time doing this stuff. I think I've moved really quite fast. But yeah, so I got into, I really wanted to buy a drone. I was wanting to buy a Phantom 4 because that was the big drones at the time,
Yep.
and but the Mavic Pro came out, so I thought I'll just go for that drone, and I was really interested in taking photos of what it was like down below. So just that 90 degrees down and seeing the shapes and seeing the different perspective and trying to show the world what some place that they already knew existed but looked completely different. And I was fascinated with this whole perspective thing. But at the same time, about a year later, a good friend of mine who approached me, we were sitting having a couple of beers and some food one night, and he says, I really like what you're doing here. He says, is there a way we can monetize this? Is there a way we can do something different, And that's when we started the Flyby Guys. And we had the idea, we sat and we thought about what we could do, and then this is what we've been doing now. It's quite hard to believe. I sometimes have to pinch myself to, how fast things have moved and how well we've done and all the rest of it, But it's been quite incredible.
I know I saw you for the first time when you were on one of Sean Geeks Fauna's show. And I said, wow, look at this guy, the Flyby Guys, This is seems to be very interesting. And, I've been following you ever since,
Yeah, I thought that the name was something quite unique. I didn't want to go down the way of a media or a kind of photography, because I didn't want to define us to be doing something that we end up would not be doing, if you know what I mean. So let's say being a photography company or being a media company, we essentially looked at the business prospects and seen that there was no great money in taking photos or taking videos, because it's all been done. There are good companies out there doing that already. So no one's going to come to a kind of a young company, when you already have established companies there. So we really wanted to focus on the data side, and also doing services and stuff like that. So we wanted to have a name that basically would kind of be an all-rounder, but then have a good brand as well, something that people would recognize. And I think we got lucky. lucky, Yeah.
Well, I tell you, it seems like your business has just taken off. I mean, really, you're so busy, and it's great. I think it's great. I'm sure you feel that way too, right?
I do. It's I'm 52 years old. I started the Flyby Guys with my business partner now just almost 4 years ago now. So having a new lease of life and doing something completely different, doing something that I'm passionate about, I do feel younger. I feel motivated. I love my job, even if I work 18 hours a day sometimes, but still I do what I love. And I love the community. I love this community that we have as well worldwide. It's fantastic. And it's even though I'm in the professional side, I'm still a hobbyist. So I still fly for fun, if you know what I mean. So it's nice that I do both, but I do love my job, and I do feel very lucky with what I do.
Yeah. No, like I say, and the drone shows, I first I found the delivery so interesting, but then you gave me the inside scoop that you were very involved with drone shows. I did keep it quiet, how I have a tendency to tell secrets, but I kept it quiet. And you go all over the world doing the drone shows. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I can. So we got chosen about it was probably about 18 months ago. We got chosen by a large company. There was a very, very large international company who were doing these shows, and they wanted to have a company that would manage the shows, that would perform the shows, but they needed to have an experienced team that were able to deal with the scale of what these are, because they are, as you can see behind me. So you can see this picture. This is from Taiwan. This is 1,500 drones. So the scale of what we are doing is I mean, it's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing. So we were chosen, and they took us and they trained us over in Germany, and then we shot off to Dubai, and we done 90 shows in about 45 days, which was quite incredible because I didn't have any days off, but still we managed to do this. And then that just escalated us into doing more shows all over the world. So we've been to, we've been to Asia, we've been to Africa, again, Middle East, and it's quite incredible.
Hopefully, you're going to come to the United States and do a drone show.
I would love that. I would love that. I think I don't. It wouldn't matter where I went in the US. I think I would still have people from the community queuing up there to come and visit. So I don't think I would be. I don't think I would be short of visual observers if they want to come and work for a couple of days. So
you must have laughed when we had 10 drones up in the sky at the South Florida drone meetup.
It's actually quite funny because the day, and actually I need to send a picture to you. I need to send a picture because the day before you took that picture, I was visiting another company in France who were doing drone light shows, and I went to visit their kind of testing area, and they were flying 500 drones. So, but this was during the day. So you had this photo of 10 drones, and I just took a photo of 500 drones.
I know.
During the day, because we usually fly at nighttime. But I was just visiting the testing area for this company, and I meant to send it to you because when you put the 10 drones up, I went, yeah, that just looks like the exact same picture I took yesterday, but with 500.
Yeah, no. Well, we were so proud that we had the 10 drones up and none of them crashed. There were some near crashes, but
I seen that. Yes, I think
it was one of those things where
I think it was Marcus, was it? I think it was Marcus.
Well, we won't mention any names, but there was a couple,
But it's okay because Marcus is traveling right now, so he won't be watching.
But anyway, we beat the spin-up record. I think the spin-up record was 7. So we got a long way to go to get to 500, though. That's for sure.
We'll sort that out next year. I think we can sort that out.
Yeah. But it's amazing because we got a great crowd in the house. They must have knew you were going to be on and Dre was going to be on, and
you always have a great crowd, and it's just it's a usual crowd. It's just funny to see you not with Johnny.
Right, I know. Me and Johnny, I know. We're like the Botsy twins,
You are.
And that turned out to be such a great experience for me because I still consider myself very new at this live streaming, and when Johnny, said, how about us doing a show? And I was so happy and honored that he, wanted to do a show with me, and it took off. So, but anyway, I don't want to cut you short. We'll have a joint conversation with you also about other things, but I don't want to leave Dre in the back room because he's sending me messages that you ate all the shrimp and lobster and you didn't leave him nothing. So we're gonna bring Dre in, and he comes all the way from California.
Hey, more shrimp.
How you doing, Dre? Welcome.
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to be seen, as my daddy says.
Yeah. So I guess you're on a day off today, huh?
Yeah, I took some of my admin time and put to good use.
And I was telling everybody you were going to show up in a suit and tie,
You know what? When you asked me this, I kept thinking, what am I going to wear on Cap's show? I got to get out a special tie, maybe a little vest here, give a little British look to it,
But it's actually hard to recognize Dre without his white hard hat on.
I gotta tell everybody in the chat, and you also, Stephen, that I had the privilege to meet Dre in person and to fly with Dre. And we all know that you don't know what to expect when you meet somebody new. But Dre is one of the most professional drone pilots that I've ever met, and he's got a great personality too, really. And it was my honor to fly with you, Dre.
Oh, same here, Cap. Same here. I really had a great time. And like I say, like you guys said in Florida, I think it's more about this meeting and talking with people more than it is about flying. We see each other in these chats all the time, and we send messages back and forth. And some of us get on the live chats, like yourself and Johnny and Steven here and stuff. And they actually, I said when you break bread with somebody, that's a real sign of friendship. When somebody wants to sit down and break bread with you. So,
Exactly.
I appreciate the time with you and your wife and your son and his wife and our other guest that was there for the holidays, Steve Carpenter and
I
everything.
know.
So
That was a great little meetup that we had. I
yeah,
call them mini meetups,
yeah,
and that was some location to fly. Dana Point Harbor there.
yeah,
That was really, really nice. You
yeah.
know?
I just want to send this quick route to Stephen. 'Cause I know it's middle of the night there where he's at. Hey, if you're ever, I'll say the Southwest region of the United States, that means from Vegas to Phoenix, Southern California, call me if you need a spotter. You call me if you need a spotter for a show. I'll be
there
I
there,
you
will.
go.
partner.
I mean, like I said, I know I would never be short of spotters because I would just, I mean, the whole community worldwide, especially in the US, if they're from everywhere, and I've had so many people just send me messages saying, if you're ever in the US, please let me know. I would love to come and work with you. It's like, yeah, I would love to. I would love
Exactly.
that. It would be,
Yeah.
because I think it's also good, and because when I do these shows, I do hire spotters, and I do prefer to have people who work in the drone industry, just to give them the experience of being in that situation to understand how
Right.
it is to be in with large operations, because we do train them. We give them good tips that they will then go away and use when they do their own drone operations as well, because it's not just a case of standing there and going, oh yes, I can see a drone. There's so much more to it than that. We teach them maintenance and things like that as well. So, and they get paid. So, which of course is really, really good, but the experience is really good.
Yeah, I missed out an opportunity last weekend. I got a call from a company I'd done work for, and they wanted me to be the supervisor, pilot in command for Coachella.
Oh, wow.
And
That
that's
would have
why I
been
said,
fun.
that's why I say, when Steven's talking about getting involved in these larger events, I mean, this is what he does, Steven does. So for him, it's probably old hat. For me, I'm looking for that to put a little feather in my cap to say, hey, I've been out here and I would have had about maybe 4 or 5 pilots who I would have had to manage, supervise over,
Yeah.
and everything else. And I said, these are the things that, like Steven can say, one thing leads to another.
Exactly.
I'll tell you a story. Actually, I'll tell you a story. When I was in Dubai about a year and a half ago, we were doing shows, and again, I was hiring drone pilots to come and be spotters because, again, just to give them the experience. And there was one pilot. There was one guy. I knew that he had this safety mind, and when he flew, he talked the talk and walked the walk,
Right.
And we got I was having a meeting with the company who we were doing, who owned the equipment, and they said, "Can you expand the team, because we like you? We think that you can do more shows for us. If you can expand the team, that would be great." And so I said to my other spotter, I said, "Do you want to join the team? And and I will train you." And he was, "Yeah." And he then started to join us all over the world. He was doing really, really good shows. He's currently now in Germany doing some inspections for us, actually, in Frankfurt. So he's there doing that right now. So so you never know if you become a spotter, if you do the right thing, have the right attitude, show that you're safety minded.
Exactly.
One thing leads to another. Yeah.
It's true. But Coachella, that would have been a great thing to drone for sure. Supervise the drones. I'm
that's
familiar with it. I've been watching that for a couple of years now. I
yeah.
mean,
I
they
guess they
didn't have
got
it
the
last year, right?
no. This the first year back in the
Right.
last 2
Yeah.
years, and I guess next week starts the stagecoach version, which is basically the
Oh,
country western side of it. Starts this next weekend coming up. So it's like almost like a whole month of top
Right.
music acts from across the globe come
wow.
there.
Yeah.
And there's always surprise guests. I guess this last weekend they had a couple other artists show up with scheduled artists. So it's like a really big deal. And I'm thinking, just to be able to have that on your resume, just like Steven, I say, oh yeah, I've done jobs in Dubai and Singapore and this and that. And it's like people say, if somebody asks me, do you know anybody do drone show? Oh yeah, I got a guy. He might be
Mhm.
over in Scotland right now, but he does it.
Well, I tell you what, actually, Dre, I tell you what, make sure you contact me at the end of the show, because I have a contact that could help you if you want to get involved in the drone shows. I know someone in the States who's looking
Mhm.
for some guys. So if you would like, I can pass you on to that. They are
Sure.
they are looking for people. This is a growing industry. It's only going
Yeah.
to get bigger. It's only going to grow, and they need professionals. They need people with the safety mind. That
Right.
if you're in that safety mind, that's it. It's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
like I said,
Stephen, just to let you know, I was approached this past week about if I had a connection for a drone show in the North Palm Beach, Florida area. They're thinking of moving away from fireworks to
yeah.
drone shows. So I
Mhm.
says, I think he may be coming into the chat a little later, but if I spot him, I'll let you know who he is. But I definitely would like to contact you after the show too, and
Yeah.
if you have
Yeah. Sure.
contacts that I can pass on to this guy from the recreation department. That'd be great.
I
So,
do.
Cap,
I do.
that's a good question. I'd like to know what is the cost difference between the old standby fireworks show and a drone show?
It's well, okay. So if you take, for example, if you look at Dubai, Dubai is one of those places that spends a lot of money, and they have fireworks and all the rest of it all the time. If you want to have a fireworks show that is impressive, and I mean something which is outstanding that people will actually remember, you're looking to spend about $10 million on just a
Wow.
fireworks display.
Right.
So you can easily half that. You can put 75% off, and you can have a very, very impressive drone show for that money. So that gives you an idea of the kind of
Right.
costing there. And also you have the environmental aspect, you have the noise aspect as well, and as well a bit more personal, because you can have your logos, you can have designs,
Yep.
so
Right. That's why I was saying you can make it more personalized, or
Yeah.
whatever the event is, have it geared towards that. So all your displays are going towards the event or the occasion.
Yeah.
Unlike fireworks is always going to be like I said, the big booms and ahs and everything else. But a drone show, it is like having a IMAX theater in the sky.
it is.
Exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
So Stephen, let me ask you this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but which drone show have you liked the best so far that you've
This
worked on?
one behind me now. This one behind me.
And which one was that?
That was in Kaohsiung, in Taiwan, for the Lantern Festival. So it was part of Chinese New Year, and so it was 1,500 drones. So probably that's been the most amount that we've ever flown. But the animation itself was incredible. It was 3D. And it was so well designed. It really had that wow factor. You could hear the people. We had an audience of about 250,000 people every night, which is a lot of people when you do.
Well, it is an incredible backdrop that you have there. That's for sure.
Yeah, this actually symbolizes the thanks from the Taiwanese government, thanking the American people for the COVID vaccines.
Okay.
That is what it's for. So because the first part of this animation was an airliner flying over the sky, and then dropping a parachute which had a red cross on it, and then you would have the hearts, which was to symbolize the thank you for the. So it was quite incredible. This was one of the heartbeats that we had, and it was actually pulsating in 3D. It was quite incredible.
It had to be incredible to see and to watch.
It really was, and the first part of the animation is actually a 3D tiger's head, because it was Year of the Tiger. So this was this was the theme of it, and the entire head of the tiger was in 3D. And when every time it appeared at the start of the animation, you could hear the crowd go. And when you hear 250,000 people go, it makes the hairs on your neck stand up.
I can imagine.
White, and it's actually emotional as well, because you know, when you have worked really hard to create this in the sky, and you hear those people, you know, reacting to that, it really gets you. It really does, and that's when you know that's when you know it works. You know. So.
Yeah. And now back to you, Dre. You know, I know you're a busy man too. You know,
appearances for you.
You have a job, and you fly for the city, right? And maybe you can talk a little bit about that and how you got that job, and you know, whatever else you want to share or can share.
Well, just let some people who haven't know. I am now currently the safety officer for the city of San Bernardino, which let Stephen know it's about the size of the crowd that he entertained, about 250,000 people there in his city. And I started off from ground. I was law enforcement, went in construction about 20 years ago, worked my way up from labor, equipment operator, came on with the city, started working in sewers, graffiti. I supervised with graffiti removal in our city, and wound up becoming an inspector. And that's when drones started ticking in my head, when I became an inspector for construction. And my specialty was we call National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NPDS. It is that was created back when Richard Nixon signed the Clean Water Act after the fire in Ohio, the river, way back then. And that's what my authority used to come from, was all that Clean Water Act. So it really caught on with all the environmental changes over the last, I would say, 30 years now here in the United States, where a lot of things I used to enforce, was the general construction permits. Anything over an acre, built over an acre, has to follow the general construction permits. I inspected industrial sites. Anything that manufacture, whatever it is, everything that makes the little ketchup packets you put on your fries, to making steel. I would inspect all these facilities and make sure they were in compliance with their Clean Water Act and so forth. And everything else. I even inspected restaurants to make sure their grease program was in compliance. I didn't give out the letter grades like we have here, but I would definitely have the enforcement action to call out the other inspectors to, if I go through a kitchen area and I see a lot of things I don't like, I can call them out, and we can lower that A down to a B or C if necessary, especially if I see rodents and stuff like that. You know, so I basically had a very big stick to swing. I didn't like swinging it, because you really can hurt especially a mom and pop business, even the larger corporations and stuff. I have to chase after the Amazons and everybody else to make sure they stay in compliance with all their facilities, trucking, and everything else. That kind of like anything to do with clean water, on-site water, runoff water, even irrigation water, sewer spills, all that retention bases, all these things that do with anything that floats, flows, whatever. That's what I used to do. Now, as a safety officer, I get to relax, and basically I conduct training and go walk around the city buildings to make sure I can keep all the employees and also the citizens who come into the public buildings safe for the most part now. Now, getting back to drones, as an inspector, some of these facilities I would walk around, especially the ones in construction. You're talking about one of these large Amazon facilities, 1 million square feet. That's a lot of walking. So you're a young man for me, Steve. I'm 60 and Cap's a little older than me and stuff. So when you're out here, trancing around, and I mean, that's just one site. I would hit maybe close to 10 to 12 sites a day of walking these sites. And that's where the drone, in my mind, came into play and said, hey, I can fly these sites, get the necessary information I need. Also, it helps me catalog these sites because the biggest thing I focus on, what we call underground chamber systems, which basically is underground system that collects all the water on site through rainfall, whatever else, and it actually helps it saturate back into the groundwater. So we're retaining water back into the soil locally. So that was my biggest thing, is taking pictures of this when they first dig that hole out, which is, that hole could be as large as a football field or larger.
Right.
Like that. We're talking about corrugated pipe, metal pipe that you can 10 feet in diameter. One Amazon facility had pipes that are 10 feet diameter, 3-4 football fields, large, and just massive. So I flew a drone, took pictures of it from the day they dig the hole to the day they cover it back over and put concrete on top. So I catalog it, because what happens is a couple of years down the road, we come back and do another inspection of the ongoing progress, or I should say, make sure they're in compliance still of the program. So it never ends. It never ends. So that's where I got my drone, kind of itch for, is doing it like that. And that way it saved me a lot of walking, and also thrilled the engineers that I work with and so forth. They like the shop because it gives you a different perspective. A lot of times these guys, all they see is blueprints. Mm-hmm. And they like to see the real 3D dimension what a picture can give you. Like I said, I did a demolition of a bridge that we had in the city. There's a lot of things. We got demolition going on. Took out a whole bridge. They're going to rebuild it here, hopefully the next year and a half. It's a total of 3-4 year project. So I documented all the deconstruction, and when I start building it back, I'll document all the construction of the bridge going back up.
So are you doing like a 3D model every week or every 2 weeks or something? Is it?
No, not necessarily. 3D models a little beyond what my city is capable of doing. Because a lot of times I tell people, it's not so much what I actually can do, is what their computing power can handle. Mm. I said a lot of things you can do with drones, like I say 3D modeling stuff, but you need a high-end computer to crunch that information.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Have a very high, and like I say, in most cities they have bare bones systems. A lot of them are outdated. Barely have 250 gig hard drive still. Barely 12 megabyte of RAM. 12 gigabyte RAM. So I got to make sure I dumb it down so it can still be functional for the city to use. So a lot of times I'm taking just regular pictures. I might do a mapping collection of a site, if it's something like that. But mostly I'm doing just pictures for location of storm drains and other type of key information that we need for the city to catalog it. So like I tell them, my goal, wherever I've done in life, is to make sure whatever I set in place can transfer right over to somebody else. Because I always believe that, the military training taught me, you train the guy below you to take your spot. And that's always been my mindset. You train for the next guy. So if I walk out the door, which I'm on the clock now, I got 4.5 years left, before I retire. So if somebody comes to my office, sit in my chair, they will have a general idea of what's going on, how it works, and be able to pick up the ball and go from there. That's just how I think how things should be done.
But basically what you're saying, Dre, is you take most of your jobs involve taking photographs rather than video?
Well, it's a combination. Like I have an Amazon job out in Beaumont, California, and it's a combination. I do the mapping, photogrammetry work. First, I do a progressive orbit video for that, and then I do some directionals, what I call them directional shots from each of the cardinal directions, north, east, southwest, all that kind of stuff. So it's like 3 separate flights. I go out there once a month. I'm going to try to bump up to twice a month. I don't know if they want to spend the money or not, but being from the construction side of house, once you get the walls up, I don't care if it's a house, a warehouse, or whatever, things start moving really fast. The slow part is the grading of the ground and laying the foundation. Once those walls go up, things start happening real fast. And I mean, once a month, I can go out there and they'll have half the roof done by the time I come back out again. So it's like I try to tell folks, maybe twice a month gives you more of a nicer progression of seeing how things develop on site.
It seems like these Amazon warehouses are going up all over the country too. I know Rob Samata is doing one up on Long Island.
Yeah. And the big thing about them in drone work, I tell people, I said, a lot of these warehouses are going up, which is good work. but they're also putting solar panels on top of all these big projects. So I tell them, I said, you get into doing solar inspection, which is why I bought my advanced Enterprise Advanced for the solar inspections down the road. So
it's funny you mentioned about solar panels and all of that. My son had put a Tesla roof on his home in California,
right.
but when I gave him his Mavic Mini, he went up and did a roof inspection of the job that they did.
Yeah. And I say I've done a couple pre-inspections, which they always want drones to take a pre-inspection of a roof and see the condition of it, which drones are good for that because it saves them putting somebody on the roof.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of saving all right there. And then once the panels are put in place, you look at it again. And I tell folks, after about 3 to 5 years, you want somebody with a thermal camera to come along and see how effective your panels are, because you can have a dead panel in the middle of an array and nobody knows it.
They actually need those actually inspected once a month. They actually need to be inspected once a month.
Yeah.
We're also working with a solar inspection company in the UK. Actually, so it's actually a UK company. They are just a data company, but they specialize in the data that comes from drones. So they are a drone software company, but they don't have any drones. They don't have people to fly drones. So they look for people to do the work for them, which is really good. So I've they've asked me to go to a few countries to do, but a lot of the work that they have for the solar farms, you're actually documenting it from the very beginning. And when I say beginning, I mean when they're starting to dig the ground.
Yes.
And they will have like a timeline document of the land starting to get dug, start to get built.
Right.
Then you have the solar panels right up to seeing, as you say, the dead cells. If there are dead cells, where are they, and all the rest of it, So it is now becoming quite a major part of drone inspections now, solar panels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very much so. Yeah. So that's why I tell people, I said, there's a lot of work coming to the drone industry as people, even the industry itself, is seeing the cost savings of this type of work. Because if you had somebody go out, I don't know if you had a chance, Cap, when you did you go to Vegas when you were out here? Cap?
Say that again, Trey?
Did you go to Las Vegas when you visited out here?
Well, I've been there, but no, not while I was on that last trip.
Well, I'm just saying, if you've driven there from Southern California, I think Steve might say,
I flew.
Okay, you might even be able to see it from the sky on the way route the plane took. But there is a massive solar farm right before you leave the state of California as you get to Nevada. And I mean, from the air, it looked like a giant mirror from the air. And you think about what it would take for someone to walk that and try to inspect it compared to a drone flying at.
But this is the thing, Dre. This is the thing which we have to be careful that we don't say that it will save you money, because because it won't save the money. Actually, it will actually cost them the same. The thing is, they're getting more information that they can't get from that person who's walking around, because you get a much larger view. You get much more information, because when you're next to something, it's, you might not see everything. There's things that you actually cannot see. When you're up at a certain height, you can see more. So there's because us humans are let's say we are common, let's say, to make mistakes. So it's very, very common for us to miss a lot. But with artificial intelligence, for example, with all the software, you're pretty much guaranteed that you'll get the information. So I never say, when I'm
cost less, just more efficient.
Yes,
exactly.
More efficient.
Yes. That's it. Yeah.
I just want to get a quick shout out to Bob Casey. He said he got his package today. So Bob is part of the Recovery One Drone Hat Crew.
That's good.
Out there.
Yeah.
I've seen them wearing those hats. I've seen who else was wearing the hats a while ago.
I think Mark Fisher is the biggest wearer of them all. He
Mark
almost every
Fisher.
video
And it looks good on him too.
I know.
It does, you know.
Yeah, he has it on almost doing everything.
You know, you guys are so interesting. You really are. Well, both of you. And I don't even have time to stay on my regular format. You know. But you know, it's one of those things that I do a tip of the week. And you guys are professionals. So when I do the tip of the week, you may laugh. But there's some new people, you know. There's some new people. But this week's tip of the week is to remember to check your batteries and maintain your batteries. How's that for a tip? Is that a good tip, guys?
That's a tip that even I and also Dre will always be doing. It's part of your pre-flight checklist.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of your pre-flight checklist. It's you know, checking for your SD cards in there, because again, we make mistakes. We will always make because we're humans, you know. I actually have a pre-flight checklist. If you go to the Flyby Guys website, we have one you can download for free. You don't have to give your email address. We don't want your data. You can just download the pre-flight checklist, and it gives you everything you need to know. It doesn't matter if you're flying professionally or if you're flying for a hobby. A pre-flight checklist is always really important. So the tip of the week is very important. It doesn't matter how new or how old you are into the game, you still have to do that. Very good.
And this is a good time of year to do that, Cap, because we go from winter flying, spring, and going towards summer, and the people don't realize how different your battery reacts to the weather conditions you're flying in.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's
so
great.
Very, very vital to make sure you check your battery. Today I was out flying the big site and a little bit of more heat out here, and a couple of those phantom batteries came back, took a little extra oomph to get them out because they get a little puffy.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
You know, so
especially flying those Mavic 2 Pros now as well. You're flying the Mavic 2 Pros, you know, after a certain time, as you say, Dre, they start to get a bit puffy. They start to get, you know, so you have to be always have to check them as well.
Yeah, I tell people, like I say, pre-flight checklist is normally where people miss something.
Yeah.
And like I say, even though it has like me, if we get off our routine, we'll end up missing something. Like you said, something small like an SD card, or did we use that battery, whatever, how long have I been using this battery? You know, it's kind of just, we get out of our routine and it's simply miss something that quick. And it's something you always got to condition yourself. Just like anything you do in life, you know, you check all your equipment before you do something. Yeah. And I tell folks, recreational or commercial work, these drones, it's like just like an airplane. You have to check everything. Right. It's not really a toy. It is an aircraft. So you really got to check your stuff no matter what.
I actually had to update one of my pre-flight checklists when I'm using the Phantom. Because something bizarre happened one day. I was flying the Phantom and I was doing an inspection of the roads here. Actually here in Helsinki, they have this thing here at the end of winter that they really clean the streets. Yeah. So once they clean the streets, I fly the drone over and get all the data from the road to see if there's any holes or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. But I landed the drone after the truck went by and washed everything and stuff. And I landed the drone, went to the next part I was to go and do, and got the drone ready and checked. And the SD card fell out.
Oh, really?
4. Yeah.
Wow.
The SD card popped out of the Phantom 4 when it landed in the last site. And of course, I had all that data on it, didn't I? So I had to run all the way back to the former site. Luckily, it was there. It was just sitting on the grass.
That's good. You found it.
Now my next concern was, why did it pop out? Like that thing spring loaded, and like it didn't shoot like 3 or 4 feet away.
Exactly. Yeah.
That thing is
So that's why I had to add in the pre-flight or let's say the pre-flight checklist for the post-flight checklist. Yes. When it lands, check the SD card.
Yeah, now that's a good one. Post-flight checklist. I like that. Yeah.
Oh,
it's true.
Yeah. And speaking of batteries, Cap, on post-flight checklist, make sure you take your batteries, put them in a nice, cool location. Let them cool
Right.
down as fast as possible, and that keeps them from getting puffy. And I tell people sometimes you have if you're got a vehicle that runs, turn the AC on and put them things right next to the AC so they cool down faster. You throw them back in the case or wherever you have them you're traveling with. The longer they stay hot, the more chance of them to puff up.
True.
Right. And you know, when we were flying, Dre, when we were flying in California, you had sent your Phantom up. Remember? You went up. Next thing I knew, you were coming down so quick, and I was wondering what's going on. And you had a battery issue, right?
Had a battery warning. I'm like, oh, okay. Let's I'm big about that. I mean, I'm type like Steve was saying this the other day. Basically I was flying the wind, and it was really messing with me. So I took the Mavic 2 Pro out, my backup drone that day, and I wanted to use the Apple screen that I was using though. So I usually have the smart controller with that drone, so I can't use it because I'm using Drone Deploy. So I had to get the old controller out.
Yes. Yeah.
So what happened was, since I have not used that controller in a while, I had to do an update on the spot. Now that wasn't a big deal. The big deal was this is how quickly you can forget something. It did a big firmware update for the controller, which I forgot changed all my settings back to default settings.
Yep.
So I went and flew on another job using the smart controller again, rebound it, and I'm like, where did all my raw photos go?
Yep.
And that no raw photos. All I had was JPEG because all the settings were referred back to default with this JPEG. And I can say I did everything. Say my pre-check flight was all the other stuff, and I'm thinking I haven't changed anything, so got everything else done. Did everything else except check the settings for what type of photo format. And because I did not use that other controller to download something else, use a different display, that threw me off. And I had to go back the next morning and refly the whole job again to get the raw photos.
Well, that's okay that you could that you could do that. I had a very similar experience with the Mavic 2 Pro. Yeah. Or was it the Mavic Pro where it done a massive firmware update, and I took photos, and I got a unique photo. I got this one special photo because I always shoot raw.
Okay.
And I got this one special photo which I still love to this day. But when I got back home, put it into Photoshop or Lightroom, and I only had the JPEG, and I was I haven't got the raw, and I literally felt naked. I did not have the raw file, and it's somehow you have this wonderful picture that I wouldn't get again because of the environment and everything, but I didn't have the raw picture, and I was
right.
And it still haunts me.
So
it's
like
the little things.
Yeah,
things that make things interesting.
That's it. Any little thing that throws you off your normal routine can have big, consequences down the road as far as batteries or settings and everything else. And it didn't dawn on me because at this one job, I changed something, went to the next job, and so I got my smart controller out. I'm ready to fly. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, what happened here? And I mean, I didn't figure it out until I woke up 2:00 in the morning. And I said, I did that firmware update.
I can just imagine you, just waking up, cold sweat, going, update.
Yep. Because I kept asking myself, what did I miss? What did I do wrong? Because I'm like that. I'm like, when something's not right, I start, rethinking all my steps. I said, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? And I think I said, that update. That firmware update.
That'll do it.
Wow.
But listen, guys, let me get back to my little format that I do.
Okay.
And
all right.
You guys are eligible for the monthly contest. And I have a very sophisticated system. Is whoever gets the correct color first, their name will go in the hat for the monthly drawing. So pick the colors now. And I have it written down. And oh my God, look at this. I can't believe it. Hardly anybody's picking colors, but Dennis got it already, so there's no sense. The color was yellow, so yep. Anyway, Dennis, your name goes in the hat for the Adventures with Capt Ray Kelly hat. All right, congratulations.
Congrats, Dennis.
I know, but listen, do you guys ever fly for fun? I'm sure you do, right, Stephen?
I do. I've obviously I've had things going on over the past couple of weeks and I've been really busy flying. I was sitting in my chair here at home last night and I was saying to my wife, I was looking out the window, I was talking about, I says, I haven't flown for fun for quite a long time. I says, and she said to me, you look like you really need to go out there and fly. I says, I do. Because I love putting my drone up and just capturing the moment, finding some, finding shapes in the ground below, and just getting that unique image. And I've, like Dre, when you're so busy, when you're so in the zone, and you just don't get a chance to do it. So, but
No.
waiting for the Mini 3.
All right, Mini 3, yeah. What about you, Dre? You fly for fun?
I really can't. I very rarely just fly for fun. I mean, when I go out and do stuff, I always consider like training. Just like the recent video I did with the Litchi. I said I do that, one, to inform other pilots, but I treat it for myself as, let me train a little more on this. Let me train a little more on that. And in a way, it's kind of like fun for me, but it's actually just training and stuff. And that's why I sent you that video I did of the footage I took about a week or two ago of, like I said, I just goof around the house a little bit. And I said, well, let me mess with Litchi a little more, because I'm always interested what I can get out of that program. And there's just so much you can get out of that thing and get you so much cinematic footage. It is just unbelievable. I tell people how you can do it.
Yeah.
And using that virtual Litchi app is the magic key, because you can program the flight prior to ever starting the drone up.
Yeah.
And you see what it's going to actually do. So when you fly it, you actually know, okay, that's going to do this. It's going to do that. And I'll turn around here. And I'll explain to another guy is that most of us human beings, we're not consistent enough to be able to do the controls the way an automated system can do it. And I said, most of us struggle just doing two things at once with a drone. How do you get a drone to go adjusting the gimbal from 90 degrees to 100 degrees while it's rotating 180 degrees and maintain the same speed? That's like four things going on in one movement.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
And it's tough.
Well, needless to say, I fly for fun a lot, guys.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And nothing wrong with that.
And I have a good time doing it. But every flight I consider practice. I just consider it a practice flight, and I do try different things. It's not the same old thing that I do. But I promise you guys, and I'm going to make a commitment to you, that I will get my Part 107, hopefully by July 4th.
All right. All right.
That's the first thing I have to do when I come back to the States, is I have to go for my Part 107, because I would like to be able to fly when, when I'm there. I mean, obviously I can fly, but I should, if I have to come there for work, for example, I need to have Part 107. So as soon as I arrive, the first thing I have to do is to visit the first FAA place and get my Part 107.
That's gonna be an interesting deal for you. I mean, I just listened to the guy over at Old Farts. He was talking to you last week about going through a program to get his European certification that covers most of the European Union.
Oh yeah, Bob.
Right.
Because Bob's going to Italy, isn't he?
Yes,
he's going to Italy.
Going to Italy. And I was thinking the same thing. You coming here now. There's a lot of hoops he's talking about jumping through, but my thing for you coming from Scotland, because I know here is always like almost a month and a half waiting period for you to get your hard card. And when people forget, that's not about them processing your card and your test scores. It's about doing your background check.
Ah, okay.
And people don't think about that. When you submit your application, there is an actual background check. And I was teasing some people on Facebook. I said, some of you need to be worried about your past. Because I haven't known anybody who hasn't passed the background yet, but I'm sure there's probably some, and everything. So that's why I was wondering, how does that work out when there's a background check? for somebody who comes from overseas, and vice versa. I mean, because Bob was talking about all the things he has to do and fees he has to pay, and I'm like, dude, I'd rather just go over there and buy the drone in Italy.
Yep.
You know, and be much easier.
True.
Well, I tell you, I look forward to getting over there one day and flying. I really do. I plan on getting over to Ireland and England, and you never know, Stephen. You know, in 2023, I may just do a big loop. You know,
Finland is you know, because I actually live in Finland, Dre. So I even though I am from Scotland, but I live in Finland, and but this is a great place to actually let's say fly. It's a good place to fly. It's a good place to do business. It's a good place to network. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. You know, I don't have to go very far, and there's you know, there are other companies, and I help them out. They help me out. We all work together. We all help each other. We have a good network. So
that's how it should be too. Working together. You know,
of course, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And that's another thing, guys. You know, if you're not subscribed to each other, you know, be sure to check it out. Make sure you are subscribed to everybody, because this drone community is amazing. It really is. I don't know how many people I've asked for help, and they're more than happy to help me. And I know if you ever have questions, you can call anybody in this drone community, and they'll try to help you. Isn't that true, Dre?
Oh yeah, always. I've never, you know, heard or experienced any problems with anybody. People always want to help, give you stuff. A lot of times, you know, you walk away with a whole nother drone if you're not careful. Somebody says, "I ain't flying it, you fly it."
It's true. And this drone community here. I mean, perfect example. Steven's in Finland. You know, he's a friend. I consider you a friend, Steven. You know, I really do.
Thank you.
And Dre, you're out in California. You're my friend too. You know, it's amazing. It really is.
It's like, you know, you just have to look through the chat here. You know, you have Herman. You've got you know, I mean, you know, everyone's on here.
Yeah.
You know,
the people in the chat. You know, you see this, not the same old people, but the people that support us. We really appreciate it, and I do consider them my friends. I do,
because you know, these are people that, you know, that not only do I obviously go on their shows, Brent Arios, for example, as well, and you know, Jackrabbit FPV. It's these people who are supporting you, who are always happy to see you, who are always really, you know, wanting to find out more. This is good. I've seen this on Facebook. This is really good. I've seen this. Yeah.
This is just a few of the faces that Scott drew. You know what I mean? And he did an amazing job in his sketching of everybody. You know, they really look like the people. They do.
They do. They actually really do. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Cap, I'm really impressed with the amount of young ladies that have come forward in recent months. Tammy Jean and Dee, and I think there's another one. There's an L. I can't remember her whole name was. She came to the Florida meetup. I saw her in the chat earlier.
Deneen, and I was so glad to see female pilots there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because my thing is, we all get another experience from somebody else, from other gender, and what's their experience in flying. Because we all have our own stories and how it makes us feel, and then to feel how, you know, how the ladies feel and stuff. Because like,
you know, and a big thing, you know, and I've tried to promote it as much as I can, and that's to get children involved with drones. You know, and it was great to see Maddie bring his son. 14 years old. He ended up becoming the hero of the South Florida drone meetup when he went in and recovered the one FPV drone and searched for Marcus's, but unfortunately he couldn't find Marcus's. But he did come up with that FPV drone, and that was great, you know. So, but listen, guys, I hate to say it, but the hour is just about up, and the World Drone Community goes on right at 7 o'clock with Robbie and Al, and I don't want to go into their time, you know. and I hate to abruptly end like this because we had a great conversation going. Really, you guys were two awesome guests. You know,
Well, thank you.
really.
Thank you very much. It's good to meet you, Dre.
It's always good to meet you, sir. I'm always in awe of Steven because he's doing so much, and to hear his story, he's only been doing it almost the same amount of time I have, and he's globe hopping, you know. So
And I want to say thank you to both of you, and I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. But if you want to say you goodbyes and promote anything, you know, Steven, I'll let you go first because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning there, right?
It's one. Yeah. It's no. Just thank you. Really nice to be on the show, Ray. Thank you for the invitation. Much appreciated. It's so bizarre to just not see Johnny with you, but you know, I'm sure I'll see Johnny again and you on your show. Dre, great to meet you, and
Yes.
I know I'll at some point we'll get to meet, and
Mhm.
I'm sure we'll be sitting for many hours talking.
All
many
right.
hours. Same with you, Ray, as well. The same with you,
Yeah.
and all the people in the chat. Thank you. Thanks for the highs and everything. You know, it's great to see you all again. It's the usual crowd, but it's the best crowd.
Thank you, Steven. Really, it's an honor to have you on the show. And Dre, what do you have to say?
I sat there and tell everybody, hey, treat one another kindly and politely. We're a community. Even if we disagree on some things, let's be civil to one another. And I always say in my videos, hang on, enjoy the ride, and please subscribe.
There you go, Dre. You know, and again, thank you for being on the show. And again, you know, it was my honor to fly with you and meet you, and I
Same
really
here, Cap.
appreciate it. But thank you all for tuning in to the show tonight. I'll see you again next week, you know, and just get out there, as we say on the Fly for Fun show. Get out there, fly for fun, fly safely, and we'll see you again next week. So if you guys want to hang out, we'll have a party afterwards. Eat some more shrimp and lobster.
More shrimp, please.